Hello and welcome to the Lawrence Family Kitchen. This is Jennifer Lawrence, and today I'm doing a quick video for you on my top 10 favorite kitchen tools. So your kitchen might look a little different from mine, but here I am to kind of walk you through what we use pretty much, if not every week, every day. Some of these are my go-tos for sure every day. Some of them I use weekly, but we'll just start on this side and work over to the other side. So this is our beloved juicer, and so this summer we had a lot of fun juicing. We did all kinds of amazing concoctions that our kids just fell in love with, and I highly recommend, if you can get into a juicer financially, finding one that works for your budget. You have two types to usually choose from. One you can get is a centrifugal juicer, which basically the Jack LaLanne juicers, any of those that kind of have that spinning motor, they'll do really well with some of your harder, firmer fruits and vegetables. They don't do well with leafy greens, and they're not technically cold pressed, but you know what, it's a great place to start. This particular juicer that we have here is called the Angel juicer, and it is going to be a different kind. It's called a masticating juicer, and so it's going to have like an auger that spins, and so it presses and grinds and it breaks down the fruits and vegetables a little bit slower. You can definitely juice greens in here, and you can get all kinds of great juice out of your Angel juicer or any other. There's the Omega out there. There's quite a few options. So we love the Angel juicer. It's been a great addition to our home. It goes 24/7 almost during the summers, especially when we're juicing. The other juicer option that we find has just become really helpful is a citrus juicer. Now this may not be an essential in your kitchen, but for us, we juice lemons and limes all the time. And so sometimes I just want to get a large amount of lemon or lime juice, and doing it by hand just takes too much time for me, and I just want to make it easy and quick with two little kids running around and a third one on the way. We're just as quick as possible, and obviously we want to maximize nutrition. So I use a citrus juicer pretty much every morning to add to my smoothies or juices or recipes that I'm going to be using. So then moving down the list here, we have something called a spiralizer. Now you might find other spiralizers that are handheld. This is one that I've had for almost 10 years now, and it's just done great for us. It is kind of plasticky and a little cheap and flimsy, but it's held together pretty good. And what it does is it takes like a zucchini, or it can take a sweet potato, or anything that you want to spiralize and create a noodle-like texture, or an apple you can take, and there's some different inserts that you can use. The one I have in here right now is more for the noodles, but you can get apples to kind of peel and make big slices out of, just all kinds of fun shapes, which is a lot of fun for kids, because kids love looking at things a different way. Their food presentation is actually, I think, more important to kids sometimes than adults. And so getting that kind of fun curly noodle or that fun spirally potato can convince them that they want to eat it just because it's boingy or something. But we use the zucchini noodles instead of the typical pasta for a lot of our dishes here in our home, and so I do that with a pesto sauce or a marinara sauce, and the kids and adults just love it. So that's what the spiralizer is for. Next is my immersion blender, and this might look seemingly simple, and it is, but it can do quite a variety for me. One of the things that I use this for is I'll make my homemade mayonnaise. I stick it into a pint little size mason jar, and I add all my egg and different oils and things, and I just pulse, and pretty soon I have homemade mayonnaise within under 5-10 minutes. So it's a great tool to have. Also, if you're making soup and you don't want to distribute it into the Vitamix or your blender and then back and forth, and you just want a quick blend, this is great to just stick in a pot of soup and just blend. And I find that I can get most of my soups kind of pre-blended up. It may not be as fine as the Vitamix, but it's pretty close, and so this has become a handy tool for me. Also, if you make salad dressings at home and you just want to do a quick salad dressing, put all your ingredients in a mason jar, blend it up. So, you know, having an immersion blender sometimes can, you know, having a blender, of course, is very functional, but it may not be as quick as doing it with an immersion blender. So if you don't feel like getting your blender dirty and you just want something quick, literally you just with a button push, just pop this off, you rinse this piece and you're done. So this is like one of my faves. All right, next thing we have here is the coffee grinder. So around our home, we don't drink coffee. I used to drink coffee, and many years later in poor broken adrenals, I have finally gotten out of coffee, and I have found other energizing ways to supplement my coffee intake. So of course we do lots of fun warm drinks to replace our coffee. But what I do use my coffee grinder for is not for coffee beans, but I actually use it for lots of spices and also for flax seeds. So I'll take a bunch of flax seeds and throw it in here, and the next thing you know, I've got flax meal to add to my recipes, whether I'm making my meatballs, because I use flax meal instead of flour in my meatballs. I also use flax meal for different porridges and things that I'll thicken up. Flax meal for crackers, all kinds of things. So, and then of course, like your coriander seeds or fennel seeds or anything, if you want to make a homemade sausage and you're just looking for that extra spice, something that, you know, really, you'll find that if you grind your own seeds, you get a very your spices are going to have a much more aromatic scent to them, and your foods are going to just be, you know, really popping with flavor. So grinding your own seeds and then using your own spices in your food are a great way to surprise your guests and your kids with wonderful food. So then moving down, we have the beloved food processor. And I hear a lot of people, it's just really funny. I tell people that I made something in my food processor and they'll say, oh, I don't have one of those yet. I know they tend to be a little expensive. A lot of people get away with using a blender or a Vitamix instead of a food processor. And absolutely, like if you had to choose between a food processor and a Vitamix, I would absolutely say your Vitamix is going to be your best bang for your buck. But if down the road for Christmas you can ask your hubby or your mom or something for a food processor, it is so awesome, because I do find that the Vitamix will burn out and the motor will get really hot with things that are a little bit on the thicker side, where the food processor can handle really thick items and the motor won't burn out on you. So instead of pounding away in your Vitamix in, you know, less than a few minutes, you can have your food processor processing something into a dough or a nice fine pudding. So I do a lot of chocolate avocado pudding is one of my favorite recipes. You can find that on our website. I also do our energy kind of balls in here. So those are raw balls made with nuts, dates, or any other dried fruit. And sometimes we sweeten them, you know, with flavor them, with a little cacao and some powdered greens. And so they're just fun to do in a food processor, because you can really get your consistency just how you want it, and then you can shape them into balls with your hand, put them in your freezer, and have them forever. So of course, I just mentioned the Vitamix blender. Now you don't have to have a Vitamix. You can use another type of blender. There's a lot of really strong blenders coming out on the market, the Ninja and some others out there, but I've just fallen in love with the Vitamix and haven't gone back. So I highly recommend the Vitamix brand. I think it's an amazing tool. You can get just some really good textures out of having a Vitamix. They can blend things down to like just the finest flavor and finest texture. So your kids, you know, who might not want to drink a smoothie that has kind of that crunchy something in it, I do a really fun smoothie in here that's actually apples, a peeled cucumber, the juice of lime, the juice of a lemon. It's got some beet in it. Sometimes I use whole beet, not an entire one, just a sliver. Or we have something called beet crystals that we sell at our store at Spirit of Health, and then some avocado. And this Vitamix will make that just as smooth as you can believe. It's just like the texture is just perfect, and my kids drink it up. So it's one of our favorites. Moving down the line, we've got our nut milk bag, which you can tell we use this a lot because it's got all kinds of fun colors on it right now. But we primarily use this for making our homemade nut milks. So you can make nut milk out of almonds. You can also make it out of coconut flour. You can make it really out of any nut. But our favorite that we do here is we'll soak almonds overnight in water and a little sea salt. Then in the morning we drain them off, and then we add them to the blender, and we usually do 2 cups of almonds, and then we try to get 8 cups of water. So we may not blend it all at the same time, but in batches we'll blend that, pour it through this nut milk bag, cinch it up, have it over a bowl, of course, and then squeeze all the beautiful milk out, and then in your bowl you'll catch the milk, and what's left is the pulp. Some people use the pulp in recipes. I'm not one to do so. I find the pulp tastes a little bland, and I just prefer not to have to take pulp that's so bland and add a bunch of sweetener to it just to eat it. So we usually compost that. So you can do that also with coconut flakes and other fun nuts. You can also use this as a soaking and sprouting bag. So you could use your, take your quinoa and different things and soak it overnight in the bag in water, and then in the morning lift it up, drain it, pull it from the rope and hang it from somewhere and let your quinoa air out and kind of sprout for a day or so. And so these are great fun bags that are used for all sorts of things. And the last 2 things that I wanted to pull out, they're not necessarily kitchen gadgets, but I just wanted to bring some awareness to what we're cooking with every day. And this has been a slow transition for me because, you know, a lot of these are, they're not just super cheap things that you can buy off the shelf. They're things that you usually have to find a reputable company and then really invest in replacing some of your cookware. So right now, here I have something, it's a ceramic cookware, and this company is actually, the brand is called Extrema, and this is ceramic that is completely non-toxic, and it's not non-stick, but the nice thing about this is that it doesn't necessarily, if you cook something and something burns on there, you can really scrub it pretty hard. It doesn't scratch, so you don't have to worry about scratching the pan because ceramic is pretty much scratch resistant. So it's been a great addition to our home. We have a couple ceramic pans, and I'm slowly building on for more. If you go to the general stores, I don't even need to name them all, but your supermarkets or your big name stores that, you know, they might sell you, oh, these are ceramic pans, and you can get like the whole set for $40. I'm gonna tell you that's most likely not high quality. A lot of those glazes still have toxic chemicals, even if they say they don't have the Teflon in them. And so I really recommend, you know, looking into it. Extrema is the brand that this is, and I really have been very pleased with it. When I started using them, I was shocked because, you know, we had been cooking with stainless steel for so long, and, you know, we know that the metals from stainless steel leach into our food. So as I was cooking with the ceramic, I did my first batch of scrambled eggs in this, and I just couldn't believe the flavor of my scrambled eggs. It was just amazing, the difference between cooking my scrambled eggs in my traditional stainless steel pot or pan and then switching over to the ceramic, and the flavor that I could taste, because the flavor of the eggs didn't have any of the toxic metals and things that are coming out in your pans. And really there's very few stainless steel pans that are out there that are not leaching. Some you can buy are the surgical stainless steels, but they're just as expensive as the ceramic. So I honestly just felt like I just wanted to switch completely away from metal, and I went with ceramic. I know Dr. Mercola also has a line on his website too that you can look into. The final is my bakeware. I'm slowly transitioning into more stoneware. So there's a lot of lines out there that are stoneware that you can just find natural stone. And the fun thing about this is you grease it with a little oil, and then you start to develop what they call kind of a flavoring. So if you've ever used a pizza stone, you don't actually use soap and water to clean it, because it kind of seasons the stone, and the stone itself starts to develop a flavor. I find that my food cooks just more uniformly, and just really great flavor on the stoneware. So we have a couple different little loaf pans that you can use to make your almond bread flour, or if you're doing some other type of flours. And then you can also get lots of different bakeware for, you know, doing chicken fingers or some healthy treats or different things, muffin pans for your healthy muffins. So hopefully this can be an inspiration to you to go out and maybe buy a kitchen tool or a kitchen gadget that you didn't have in your arsenal to help making your meals quicker and easier for you to get nutritious food on the table for your family. God bless and have a great day.